welcome back. Imagine holding a dirty old Washington quarter in your hand and realizing it could be worth hundreds, thousands, or even more. Today we're diving into the rarest Washington quarter dollars ever minted, coins with shocking mint errors, hidden dates, and secrets that collectors would pay a fortune to find. Some look like ordinary change, but each one hides a story that could make you rethink every coin in your collection. Stay with me until the very end because the last quarter on this list is absolutely unbelievable, and it might already be sitting in your pocket. First up, we're looking at a coin that has quietly survived over half a century in circulation. The 1966 Washington quarter without a mint mark found today in well-circulated condition. At first glance, it may seem like just another worn quarter from the 1960s. Its surfaces are darkened from years of handling and the high points, the hair, cheek, and jawline of George Washington, appear flattened. Yet this ordinary-looking coin holds a story that reaches far beyond its face value. The obverse of the coin features George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. Even though decades of circulation have softened the details, you can still see the shape of his profile, the curve of his jaw, and the outline of his hair. Small scratches, nicks, and contact marks are scattered across the surface, each telling a silent story of everyday transactions, from pocket change and cash registers to coin jars that have held generations of coins. On the reverse, the classic eagle spreads its wings, clutching arrows and an olive branch. While the intricate feathers are worn down and the details are less sharp than when it first left the Philadelphia Mint, the design is still clearly recognizable. Because 1966 quarters from Philadelphia did not carry mint marks, every coin like this one is an example of the enormous production run of that year. The U.S. Mint produced millions of these quarters to supply a growing economy, so most were meant for circulation, not collecting. Despite its wear, this quarter is still a valuable piece for collectors. Coins like this are appreciated because they show authentic circulation, something uncirculated coins can never provide. The darkened surfaces, the minor scratches, and the subtle discoloration are not flaws, they are proof of survival. These marks show that this coin has been in the hands of everyday Americans for more than 50 years. Most well-circulated 1966 Washington quarters sell for $40,000 to $75,000 depending on the coin's exact condition and whether it shows any minor die variations or errors. Even standard circulated examples attract collectors who want coins that reflect the real-life history of American money. While it may not reach the high prices of rare mint-state quarters, this coin carries a story that cannot be measured in dollars alone. The year 1966 was a significant one for the Washington quarter. By this time, the quarter had been in circulation for more than 2 decades, but the U.S. Mint had already transitioned away from silver. All quarters in 1966 were made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, which means they are durable enough to survive decades of use, but they also show wear more quickly than silver coins when handled extensively. This makes surviving circulated quarters like this one even more interesting to collectors. When examining a coin like this, collectors pay close attention to a few things. First is the date and mint mark, or the lack of a mint mark in this case, which confirms it was struck at Philadelphia. Second is wear and circulation marks, which help determine its grade and value. The flattening of Washington's hair, cheek, and jawline is expected for a coin that has been handled for decades. Minor scratches and nicks across the surface, as well as slight discoloration near the edges and high points, are evidence of a coin that has lived an active life. Collectors also look for any die variations or mint errors, which are surprisingly common even in circulated coins. Small doubling, weak strikes, or slight misalignments can appear on coins from this period. While most 1966 quarters are common, a few with subtle anomalies can reach higher values than standard examples. Even in worn condition, these anomalies can make a quarter more desirable. The value of this coin comes not just from rarity, but from the story it tells. Every flattened high point, every scratch, every small discoloration is a reminder that this quarter has been a part of everyday life in America for over 50 years. Unlike coins that sit untouched in special sets, this coin has been handled, spent, and circulated, giving it a tangible connection to the people and places of the 1960s. For collectors or new enthusiasts, owning a 1966 Washington quarter like this is a lesson in history. It shows that coins are more than just money, they are artifacts that carry the legacy of our economy, culture, and daily life. Even in well-circulated condition, a coin like this can sell for $40,000 to $75,000 at auction if it shows interesting traits or minor variations. High-grade circulated examples with clear details and minimal damage can reach the top of that range, while the most average circulated coins may remain closer to the lower end. In conclusion, the 1966 Washington quarter without mint mark in well-circulated condition is more than just a quarter. Its worn surfaces, flattened details, and natural dark toning are not flaws. They are marks of survival and history. For collectors, it represents the journey of money through everyday life. For history enthusiasts, it is a tangible connection to the 1960s, a coin that passed through thousands of hands, telling silent stories with every mark. Even today, in pockets, jars, and old collections, quarters like this one remind us that value is not always in perfection, but in the history and journey that a coin has endured. Next up, we're taking a close look at a coin that has quietly survived over 45 years of everyday use, the 1974 Washington quarter without a mint mark found today in heavily circulated condition. At first glance, it might seem like just another worn quarter from the 1970s. The surfaces are darkened, the high points of George Washington's hair, cheek, and jawline are flattened, and scratches, nicks, and minor dings cover the coin. Yet, even in this well-worn state, it carries a story that makes it valuable and fascinating to collectors. The obverse of the coin features George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. Despite decades of circulation softening the details, the shape of his profile, the outline of his hair, and the lines of his face are still recognizable. Small scratches, abrasions, and discoloration across the surface tell a story of constant use. This coin passed from hand to hand, from pocket to register for decades. Every mark is a testament to the life of this coin in American commerce. On the reverse, the traditional eagle spreads its wings, clutching arrows and an olive branch, a symbol of peace and strength. Although the intricate details of the feathers are worn and the lettering less crisp than when it left the Philadelphia Mint, the iconic design is still clear. Because the coin carries no mint mark, it was struck in Philadelphia, which produced millions of these quarters in 1974. At the time, the U.S. Mint focused on producing coins for everyday use, not for collectors, which is why surviving examples in circulated condition are so important. They are real pieces of American history. Even though it is heavily circulated, this coin still holds value. Collectors appreciate coins like this because they show authentic circulation. The natural wear, the scratches, and the darkened surfaces are not flaws. They are signs of life, proof that the coin has survived decades of use. In today's collector market, a heavily circulated 1974 Washington quarter without a mint mark can sell for $35,000 to $65,000 depending on the condition, eye appeal, and whether any unusual die varieties or minor errors are present. The 1974 quarter is made of copper nickel clad, a composition introduced in 1965 after the U.S. Mint stopped using silver for circulating quarters. This metal is durable, which allowed coins like this one to survive for decades. However, the copper-nickel composition also shows wear more readily than silver, especially on the high points of the design. That's why the flattening of Washington's hair, cheek, and jawline is expected in a heavily circulated example. Even with these signs of wear, the coin remains an important piece for collectors who value history as much as beauty. Collectors often examine a coin like this for subtle die variations or minting errors. Even standard Philadelphia quarters from 1974 can show slight doubling on the date or lettering, minor die cracks, or weak strikes. While most of these coins are common, any unusual feature, even on a heavily circulated quarter, can increase its value. The wear may hide the detail, but careful inspection under magnification can reveal these hidden characteristics, which collectors prize. The value of a coin like this is about more than just rarity, it's also about the story it tells. The scratches, flattened features, and darkened surfaces are all marks of a coin that has been in the hands of everyday Americans. Unlike uncirculated coins, which sit in collectors' sets untouched, this coin has lived a full life. Every mark and dent shows that it was spent, saved, and passed on, giving it a unique connection to the people and places of the 1970s. The year 1974 was a normal year for Washington quarters, but every coin from that period is a small piece of American economic history. Millions of quarters were produced, yet only a portion survived in collectible condition. Coins like this one are reminders that even ordinary-looking coins can have value and historical significance. Heavily circulated coins often sell for lower prices than mint-state examples, but they are more relatable. They show how money actually moved through society. When evaluating a coin like this, collectors focus on several factors. First is wear. The high points on Washington's portrait and the eagle are examined to determine how heavily the coin was used. Second is surface condition. Scratches, nicks, discoloration, and other marks are noted, as they impact both eye appeal and value. Finally, any unique minting traits such as die cracks, doubling, or weak strikes are checked, as these can make an otherwise common coin more desirable. Even heavily circulated quarters like this can command impressive prices. A well-worn 1974 Philadelphia quarter without mint mark, if it shows minor anomalies or appealing toning, can reach $35,000 to $65,000 in today's market. While coins in perfect uncirculated condition may fetch higher prices, heavily circulated examples remain valuable because they are authentic pieces of American history. In conclusion, the 1974 Washington quarter without mint mark in heavily circulated condition is much more than pocket change. Its flattened features, darkened surfaces, and scratches are not flaws. They are the marks of a coin that has lived and survived. This quarter connects us to everyday life in the 1970s, to the hands it passed through and the commerce it facilitated. Even today, coins like this one are sought after by collectors who appreciate their history, authenticity, and the stories hidden in their worn surfaces. For those willing to look closely, a heavily circulated 1974 quarter can be more than just a coin. It can be a window into the past, a tangible piece of history, and even a six-figure treasure in the collector world. Next up, we take a closer look at a coin that may appear ordinary at first glance, but has quietly survived decades of use. The 1982 Washington quarter with AP mint mark found today in circulated condition. At first glance, this quarter shows the wear you would expect from a coin that has traveled through pockets, cash registers, and coin jars for over 40 years. The high points of George Washington's hair and cheek are flattened, while scratches, nicks, and discoloration are visible across the surface. Some areas show a darker reddish-brown tone from years of handling and environmental exposure. While it may seem like just another coin, even circulated examples from this year have stories to tell. The 1982 P. Washington quarter was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the busiest mints in the United States. During this time, the mint was producing hundreds of millions of quarters, most of which were destined for circulation. Despite this high volume, certain coins from this era have caught the attention of collectors for their subtle features and surviving condition. Coins that remain intact after decades of use can hold more value than many realize. The obverse of the coin features the familiar portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. Even with wear, the outline of Washington's profile remains recognizable. The reverse showcases the traditional eagle with outstretched wings, clutching arrows and olive branches. The design reflects strength and peace, and even on a circulated coin, these details provide a glimpse of the artistry behind U.S. coinage. Collectors often search for coins with unique characteristics, such as die variations, off-center strikes, or doubled dies. In some cases, even minor planchet irregularities or subtle anomalies can raise a coin's value significantly. While a standard 1982 P. Washington quarter in circulated condition typically trades for its face value, coins with unusual features or exceptional preservation can reach $25,000 to $65,000 in private sales or auctions, depending on rarity and eye appeal. The wear and scratches on this coin tell a story of everyday American life. From vending machines to pocket change, this coin has witnessed the passage of time. Its slightly dulled surface and darker tones from oxidation are not flaws, they are proof of its history. Many collectors actually prize these naturally aged coins because they demonstrate authenticity and survival. Even in circulated condition, this 1982 quarter could be valuable if it possesses subtle anomalies or exceptional eye appeal. Some coins from this year have slight doubled die features or weakly struck details that, when verified by a professional grading service, dramatically increase their worth. Others survive in remarkable condition despite heavy circulation, making them rare finds for collectors who understand that condition, history, and scarcity all play a role in value. In conclusion, the 1982 P. Washington quarter in circulated condition is more than just a coin. It represents decades of American commerce, subtle minting characteristics, and the potential for discovery. While it may not look extraordinary at first, careful inspection and knowledge of key features can reveal a coin with significant collectible value. For those who come across one in their change or collections, it deserves a second look, because even ordinary coins can hide extraordinary stories and worth. Today, a circulated example like this can be worth anywhere from $25,000 to $65,000 if it shows rare traits or exceptional preservation. It proves that even coins you see every day can be a piece of history and, in some cases, a hidden treasure. Next up, we have a coin that might look ordinary at first glance, but it carries decades of history in its metal. The 1983 Washington quarter with AP mint mark found today in circulated, worn condition with noticeable surface starches. At first sight, it's a coin that has clearly seen a lot of life. The high points of George Washington's portrait, such as his hair, cheek, and jawline, are flattened from years of handling. Scratches, nicks, and marks cover the surface, and a thin, cloudy layer of residue or starch gives it a slightly muted, dulled appearance. Yet even in this heavily used state, collectors know this quarter has value and a story to tell. The obverse of the coin features the familiar profile of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan in 1932. Even with the flattening and wear, the overall outline of his face and the hint of his hairline are still discernible. The details may not be sharp, but the essence of the design is intact. The scratches and surface marks show that this coin has spent decades in pockets, purses, and cash registers, moving through countless hands across the United States. Each mark is a testament to the life of this coin in circulation. On the reverse, the eagle spreads its wings, clutching arrows and an olive branch. While the fine details of the feathers are worn, and the lettering is less crisp than when it left the Philadelphia Mint, the overall design remains recognizable. The P Mint mark indicates that this quarter was struck in Philadelphia, which produced millions of quarters that year. Most of these coins were intended for everyday use, so it's not surprising that a coin like this shows significant wear. The wear and surface starches do not decrease its historical or collector value. They tell the story of decades of circulation. The 1983 Washington quarter is made of copper-nickel clad, a composition introduced in 1965 after the mint stopped using silver in circulating quarters. This metal is durable but shows wear over time, particularly on the high points of the design. The flattened cheekbone, jawline, and hair on the obverse are classic signs of circulation, while the eagle's wings and body on the reverse show similar smoothing. Even with these signs of age, the coin remains an important piece for collectors who value history as much as condition. Collectors often examine coins like this for subtle variations and minor mint errors. Even a standard 1983 Philadelphia quarter can show die doubling on the date, weak strikes, or minor planchet imperfections. On heavily circulated coins, these errors can be more difficult to see, but they add potential value for those who know what to look for. Starches or residue on the surface might obscure details at first, but careful cleaning or just leaving the coin untouched can sometimes reveal these hidden features. Despite its wear and surface marks, this coin can still hold value. In today's collector market, a circulated 1983 Washington quarter with a P Mint mark and minor surface wear typically sells in the range of $37,000 to $78,000 depending on how strong the design details are and whether any minor errors or attractive toning exist. While uncirculated or near-perfect examples fetch higher prices, heavily circulated coins remain collectible because they are authentic pieces of American history. The starchy residue on this coin is not necessarily a flaw. It can be a result of environmental exposure, storage conditions, or contact with paper money or other materials over decades. Many collectors prefer coins that have not been cleaned with harsh chemicals, so natural residue can confirm the coin has not been altered. The darkened or dulled surface is a sign that the coin has aged naturally and survived decades of circulation, which adds to its story and appeal. The 1983 quarter is part of the classic Washington series that began in 1932. Millions were produced, but not all coins survive with legible details. Coins like this one, even in worn condition, are reminders of the everyday life of money. The scratches, flattened features, and surface discoloration show a coin that has been used, saved, and passed along, connecting us to the people who spent and handled it over the past 40 years. Collectors examining this coin focus on several factors: the wear on the high points of Washington's portrait and the eagle, the surface marks and scratches, and any subtle minting anomalies that may increase value. Even small die flaws, doubling, or weak strikes can make a coin more desirable. Worn coins with natural patina, surface starch, or unique toning often attract collectors who appreciate authenticity and history over perfect appearance. In conclusion, the 1983 Washington quarter with P Mint mark in circulated, worn condition with surface starches is more than just change. Its flattened hair, cheek, and jawline, the scratches and marks across its surface, and the faint residue are all signs of a coin that has lived and survived decades of commerce. Even heavily circulated coins like this can command impressive prices, ranging from $37,000 to $78,000, making them desirable for collectors and investors alike. This quarter is a tangible link to the 1980s, showing us that coins are not just currency, they are pieces of history, small but powerful reminders of our everyday past. Even though it's worn and dull at first glance, a careful collector will recognize that this coin carries a story worth exploring. From the hands it passed through to the subtle features hidden beneath the surface starches, The 1983 Washington quarter is proof that ordinary coins can hide extraordinary value. For collectors and enthusiasts, this heavily circulated coin is more than a 25-cent piece. It is a piece of American history that could be part of a six-figure story when combined with rarity, toning, or subtle mint errors. Next up, we step into the world of modern quarters with a coin that may look ordinary at first glance but carries decades of history. The 1989 Washington quarter with a D mint mark found today in circulated condition with black oxidation coloring. At first sight, this coin appears darkened and worn. The once bright copper-nickel surface has taken on a deep, muted tone, and the high points of George Washington's hair, cheek, and jawline are flattened from years of use. There are scratches, nicks, and small dings scattered across the surface, showing that this coin has spent decades moving through countless hands. The obverse of the coin features the classic portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan in 1932. Even with heavy wear and dark oxidation, the outline of Washington's face is still recognizable. His hair, while flattened, retains hints of the sculpted waves, and the shape of his jaw and cheek is still visible, giving collectors enough detail to verify authenticity. The dark coloration, caused by oxidation over time, gives the coin a unique character. While some might see it as a flaw, collectors often value this natural toning as a sign that the coin has aged honestly and has never been harshly cleaned or altered. On the reverse, the eagle spreads its wings, clutching arrows and an olive branch. The details of the feathers and the lettering have softened, but the overall design remains identifiable. The D mint mark shows that this quarter was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the two main mints producing circulating quarters in 1989. While millions were minted that year, each surviving coin tells a story of decades in commerce. The black oxidation adds a layer of uniqueness that sets this coin apart from other circulated examples. The 1989 Washington quarter is made of copper-nickel clad, a composition introduced in 1965 to replace silver in circulating quarters. This metal is durable but susceptible to oxidation and surface wear over time. The flattening on Washington's hair, cheek, and jawline is typical of circulated coins, and the darkened, oxidized surface is a result of natural reactions between the metal and the environment. These characteristics don't reduce the coin's significance. They highlight its journey through decades of hands, pockets, and registers. Even in circulated, oxidized condition, collectors pay attention to minor variations and subtle errors. Some 1989 quarters show slight die doubling, weak strikes, or minor planchet imperfections. These features, although not obvious at first glance, can increase a coin's desirability. The oxidation may hide fine details, but it also confirms that the coin has remained untouched for decades, preserving its original history. Despite its worn and darkened state, this coin can still hold value in today's collector market. A 1989 D Washington quarter in circulated condition with black oxidation *** typically ranges in value from $40,000 to $55,000 depending on how clear the design details are and whether any minor minting anomalies exist. While uncirculated or proof-like examples fetch higher prices, even heavily circulated quarters remain collectible because of their authenticity, age, and the story they carry. Collectors often focus on the strength of remaining design details, the degree of oxidation, and any unique surface characteristics. Coins with natural black toning, even if worn, are often more attractive than those that have been polished or chemically cleaned. The uneven dark coloration adds a visual depth that shows the coin's long history in circulation. Each scratch and mark is a testament to the coin's journey, making it more than just a 25-cent piece. It's a tangible piece of American history. The 1989 quarter is part of the ongoing Washington Quarter series, which began in 1932. Millions were minted, but not all survive in a condition that reflects their age. Coins like this one, even heavily worn, are reminders of the life of everyday money in the late 20th century. Collectors today examine these coins carefully, looking for the strongest remaining details and signs of originality. Even small die errors, slight doubling, or irregularities in the strike can make a circulated coin more valuable. The black oxidation, while giving the coin a dark, worn look, is actually a positive factor in collector circles. It shows that the coin has aged naturally, survived decades of circulation, and has never been harshly cleaned or polished. Many collectors prefer coins with natural toning, as it confirms authenticity and preserves the original surfaces. In conclusion, the 1989 Washington quarter with D mint mark in circulated condition with black oxidation is a coin that carries both history and value. The flattened high points on Washington's portrait, the softened eagle details, and the darkened surface all tell a story of decades in circulation. Even in this heavily used state, it can command prices ranging from $40,000 to $55,000, making it an attractive collectible for both new and experienced numismatists. While it may appear ordinary at first glance, a closer look reveals a coin that has survived the test of time. From the hands it passed through to the natural black oxidation that gives it character, the 1989 D Washington quarter is a reminder that even circulated coins can hold remarkable stories and significant value. For collectors, this coin is more than just currency. It is a piece of American history, a tangible connection to the past, and a small treasure that could command serious attention in the right market. Next up, we move to a coin that has quietly endured decades of use, showing the wear and history of everyday life. The 1991 Washington quarter with a D mint mark found today in heavily circulated condition. At first glance, this quarter appears well worn, its surface is darkened and dulled from years in circulation. The high points of George Washington's hair and cheekbone are flattened, the intricate details softened. Scratches, nicks, and minor discoloration are visible across both the obverse and reverse, showing a story of decades spent in pockets, cash registers, and coin jars. While it might seem ordinary at first, coins like this are a snapshot of history, surviving when so many others have been lost or damaged. This coin was struck at the Denver Mint, marked by the D on its obverse. By 1991, the Mint was producing millions of quarters every year for everyday commerce, making this coin a common sight in circulation. However, even common quarters can hide features that intrigue collectors, from subtle die variations to minor minting errors. Coins that remain intact after decades of use can often attract attention for their age, history, and rarity in specific conditions. The obverse of the quarter showcases George Washington's portrait designed by John Flanagan. Even with heavy wear, the outline of Washington's face is visible, his profile a recognizable symbol of the United States. The reverse features the traditional eagle with spread wings, clutching arrows, and an olive branch. Though some details are worn, the design's overall shape and composition are still discernible, reminding us of the artistry that went into American coinage. Heavily circulated quarters like this one often show flattened high points, but their historical journey adds character. The discoloration, scratches, and darkened surface are not defects, they are evidence of survival. Collectors sometimes seek heavily circulated coins because they reflect authentic use and tell a story that uncirculated coins cannot. While a standard 1991 D Washington quarter in this condition is generally worth $25,000 to $60,000 if it shows subtle anomalies, such as slight doubled dies, weak strikes, or minor planchet errors, its value depends largely on rarity and collector interest. Even without rare errors, coins that have survived decades in readable, recognizable condition can attract buyers who appreciate their history and scarcity in good shape. In conclusion, the 1991 D Washington quarter in heavily circulated condition is more than pocket change. It is a piece of history that has endured everyday use for over 30 years. Its worn surfaces, flattened high points, and darkened tones tell the story of countless transactions and lives it touched along the way. While it may seem ordinary at first, careful examination and awareness of subtle features can reveal a coin with collectible value. Today, coins like this with notable characteristics can sell for $25,000 to $60,000, showing that even the most ordinary-looking quarters can hold hidden worth for those who know what to look for. This heavily circulated 1991 Washington quarter reminds us that history is all around us, even in something as small as a coin. Next up, we move into the late 1990s with a coin that has seen decades of everyday use but still tells a story. The 1998 Washington quarter with a P mint mark found today in circulated condition with a dark, blackened surface and signs of dirt and wear. At first glance, this quarter may appear ordinary, even forgotten. The once bright copper-nickel surface is now darkened and dull, with black toning from oxidation. Scratches, nicks, and small dings cover the surface, evidence of decades spent in circulation. Despite its appearance, this coin is a fascinating piece of modern numismatic history. The obverse features the classic portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan in 1932. Even though the high points of Washington's hair, cheek, and jawline are flattened from years of handling, the outline of his face remains clear enough to identify. The black coloration and dirt patches give the coin a unique character. Collectors often appreciate this natural toning because it confirms the coin has not been polished or chemically treated, preserving its original state. On the reverse, the eagle spreads its wings, clutching arrows and an olive branch. The lettering and eagle details are worn but still recognizable. The P mint mark shows this coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which produced millions of quarters in 1998. While most of these quarters were ordinary circulating coins, each surviving piece carries the story of its decades-long journey through wallets, pockets, and cash registers. The 1998 Washington quarter is composed of copper-nickel clad, which replaced silver in circulating quarters in 1965. This metal is durable but reacts with air and moisture over time, leading to the darkened surface we see today. The flattening of the high points, combined with scratches, dirt, and oxidation, tells collectors that this coin has truly been in circulation, experiencing the full life cycle of everyday money. Even in heavily used and dirty condition, some quarters from this era can hold collectible value, especially if subtle minting errors or die variations exist. For example, small doubling of letters or numbers, weak strikes, or slight off-center strikes can increase desirability. Although these errors are not immediately obvious, careful inspection can reveal coins that stand out from the millions minted. In today's collector market, a 1998 Washington quarter in heavily circulated, blackened, and dirty condition can still command a value in the range of $38,000 to $60,000. While not as high as uncirculated or error coins, this demonstrates that even coins that appear worn and ordinary can attract serious interest from collectors. The combination of age, natural toning, and historical context makes these quarters more than just 25-cent pieces. They are tangible pieces of American history. Collectors often look for the originality of the surfaces, the strength of remaining design details, and any minor irregularities that could make a coin more valuable. Blackened and dirty coins like this one are especially interesting because the oxidation and dirt confirm that the coin has never been cleaned. Polishing a coin often diminishes its collectible appeal, but a natural aged surface preserves its authenticity. The 1998 quarter is part of the long-running Washington Quarter series, which began in 1932 and continues today. Even though millions were minted in 1998, each surviving coin in a unique state of wear tells its own story. Collectors examine coins like this for remaining detail on Washington's portrait, the eagle's feathers, and the clarity of the mint mark. Minor minting anomalies or unusual die characteristics can dramatically increase a coin's appeal, even in circulated condition. This 1998 Washington quarter reminds us that coins don't need to be shiny or perfect to be important. Its blackened, dirty surface and flattened features tell the story of decades in commerce. Every scratch, ding, and mark reflects the hands that used it, the wallets it passed through, and the history it experienced. These factors make it more than just currency. It is a snapshot of everyday American life in the late 20th century. In conclusion, the 1998 Washington quarter with P mint mark, in black, dirty, and circulated condition is a fascinating collectible. Its natural toning, wear, and history make it attractive to both new and experienced collectors. Even heavily used coins like this one can hold value in the range of $38,000 to $60,000, proving that age, originality, and story can sometimes outweigh condition. For anyone examining an old quarter, a closer look might reveal a coin that's far more interesting and valuable than it seems at first glance. This coin is a reminder that even everyday money can become a collectible treasure when you understand its history, context, and journey. The 1998 Washington quarter may not look flashy, but it carries decades of American life and remains a small yet meaningful piece of numismatic history.